This Chicago NASCAR 2024 weekend betting recap edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times your entry with their Pick 8. Sign up today with our promo code RACESGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN. We are also brought to you by Rhythm. Build your own betting model using their AI betting engine. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you ask me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome in to another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. Tempers flare in our intro each and every week, but Cody, tempers flared this entire weekend as the NASCAR circuit took into Chicago on the street course. A day of great racing and then a day of NASCAR action. I guess we can talk about that. So,
well, yeah, we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I'm serious right now. It's ridiculous. And look it already. I will tell you in the chat. First of all, hi Rye Cape, long time catching you live. How are you doing, Rye? Good to see you. Second, Lil Joker, you picked the wrong day for this one. I knew I was getting into this one, but I am ready for this. Lil Joker saying, "Hey Rod, got a nice big plate of crow with your name on it." I got plenty to say about that as well. Yeah, again, there is lots of stuff to talk about from the Chicago weekend. We covered the gambit from weather to great racing to just mayhem.
I don't even know where to start, Rod. There's so many things. Let's start. Congratulations to Alex Bowman. Snaps the 80 race winless streak. Couple of streaks we've had snapped this year. Austin Cindric obviously had a long one. Keselowski being the most notable one. I think Elliott's was getting pretty decent when he won. Trying to think who else. We've had a lot. 12 winners and 20 races, Rod. They're all locked into the playoffs, so that's good news.
All locked into
every single one of them locked into the playoffs. 12 winners and 20 races. I love it. And man, like I will say the one thing we nailed this weekend was chaos. It's going to be chaos. And JDK always likes to say can't handicap chaos, which you can and you can't. And we had at times we were catching a lot of things. We ended up with an okay day, right, for how we kind of approach it, I would say, on Sunday especially. But yeah, man, just it was a weekend of racing, Rod.
It was definitely a weekend of racing. We will talk all about it, but first, I want to introduce you to my friend Munaf the Machine. This man is nicknamed the Machine, for a reason, because that dude cranks out episodes and podcasts like nobody's business. Him and Chris are getting you ready for the NFL season on the Propcast. They got episodes dedicated to season-long props and the awards market. Love the Propcast. Been a part of that for a while. Munaf is back at it with that as well. So get down on that. Plus, check out CJ Sullivan and his road to $10 million on Bottom Line Bombs. And you can tune into both of those wherever you get your podcast or the SGPN app. JDK kind of pulling us along with F1 as well. Hamilton Award breaking streaks as well. And George Russell breaking hearts. Rye Cape had a Joey Hand ticket. Nice. Cody led you in that direction too. So
we had the top 10. So we'll get into that.
Will.
Boy, yeah. I took a little bit of heat for giving out a guy like Justin Haley to win this race, Rod. When Joey Hand was about to win the race, I was thinking, well, it wouldn't have mattered who you gave out to win this race because everybody had a chance. Oh boy.
Yeah, it was insane. So then let's do that. Let's start with Sunday. Sunday, obviously fresh in our mind, the Grant Park 165 scheduled for, 70 laps that it was supposed to be.
It was supposed to be 75. We got
55 laps. Yeah, we got to 58. Yep. So another shortened race this time as the clock.
To that point, let's kind of talk about these things as we go. The clock, great idea. They did this at the Indy 500, and I think NASCAR saw that and learned from that. They said very early in the day, look, this is the cutoff time. And for all you fucking people out there that are like, well, why do we have to go to a place where we can't race the next day? Do you understand that if we get past halfway, it's an official race? We didn't go finish the Coke 374.5 the next day at Charlotte, even though there's nothing going on at the track, because once it's past halfway, it's an official race. You can go back through all the times, fog at Pocono, lights at New Hampshire. They've done this throughout eternity on oval racetracks. So either pay attention or shut the fuck up. And then secondly, but yes, the clock thing was great. You tell them nice and early, because then it's like, okay, this is what the plan is. It's not, okay, we're on lap 50, lap 58's the end. Good luck, everybody. We had plenty of time to, hey, even, before we restarted that last time, this is the clock. This is how long is going to be on it. This is what you're racing to. Plus 2 laps, right? Which ended up being the perfect amount of time for Reddick to mount the charge and everything. So shout out to NASCAR for that. Shout out to them as well for giving teams the option on the tires, right? And we saw it right from the very start. You start whichever tire you want to, made the strategy shift up. I think that was great.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, listen, and everybody's going to say this, and I agree with a lot of it. I mean, again, Lil Joker saying love everything about the Chicago street race. And I do too, because when we see the racing that is capable of on this street course, it 1000% deserves to be a street course.
It was
right?
great. Saturday, the racing was absolutely amazing. And then, at times on Sunday, we saw really good racing as well. We had more passing on this track and more race. It was more racy than 3/4 of the short tracks on the NASCAR schedule right now. So, as far as like the starting early, and they did actually have an option to go to Monday if they wanted to, but since they had already started the race, they gotten far enough in, they thought the clock would be fine. But it is in the contract to go the extra day if they need to. But obviously, you're inconveniencing a lot of fucking people at that point. I don't know if you noticed, there's a couple people live in Chicago, Rod. So a few. But yeah, and it's not supposed to just be about the race. It's the event. It's all the concerts. They didn't get to do them last year. They got all that stuff in this year. It was a 10% chance of rain on Sunday. We mentioned it earlier, kind of in passing last week, like, oh, not really any chance for rain. Great. Then we flip the TV on and it's raining. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, NASCAR just can't go anywhere without, it was crazy.
They hit all 10% on that one right there. I mean, listen, I wish that
you're telling me there's a chance.
I was going to say, I wish that there was things that had a 10% chance. Like me becoming a millionaire, there's probably less than a 10% chance of that ever happening. But I would love for that to be the same average.
There's a chance.
It's a NASCAR race. Like, yeah, if there's weather at a NASCAR race and me winning $1 million, then I would love those odds as well. But yeah, again, the whole weekend of racing was they did produce, as JDK says, some of the best racing that I think we've seen in a very long time. There were lead changes. There was racing throughout the field. There was strategy a little
Chase
bit.
Briscoe just hit the tires again.
16 million times. No, Josh Berry just hit the tire barriers.
Well, both. What is it with Stewart Haas guys? Last year it was Gregson. I know he wasn't racing for them at the time, but yeah, and then this year both Briscoe and Berry.
Oh, you know what it was? They thought this was a go-kart track and that they could hit off of the sides and still be good, but they forgot that it's not. So go fast, Troy. LFG fellas.
Ooh, he hit a couple of he hit AB twice. Let's go.
Holy
nice
cow.
Solid day for you. That's wonderful.
Yeah, but you feel good for the 48 team. Like, I mean, this is one of those monkeys off their backs because they've seen William Byron win. They've seen Kyle Larson win. They've seen Chase Elliott win. They were like, when's it going to be mine?
Did you hear his little message for the haters in the post-race interview? Rod, he was talking about the bottles of bourbon on his counter and, all the haters who said we couldn't win and all that. Thought it was great. But, yeah, it's great to see a guy like that win. He wins in, like, the most unorthodox ways, but shout out to him, and that's why, again, we hit a top 10 on him, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, but that's why you take these top 10s on him because he's always in the right place, the right time. They played the strategy absolutely perfectly. Everything worked out well for them. And another benefit of the win and you're in, which apparently is how it actually works now. Part of this, right, is gamble and go win the race, lock themselves into the playoffs. But I like
How many races are left in the season? The regular
there's six races left in the regular season, Ron. So we got 6 winners. So we have 12 winners, 6 more races. That's
5 people, 5 different
winners,
yeah.
16 spots. Yeah, they're all locked in mathematically. It's no possible way for anybody to get knocked out. So locked in.
Cody, are you a NASCAR intern? I believe you're doing.
No, that's my drinking game, and I think people in the Discord picked up on it. That's my drinking game when I'm watching NBC. Is every time they say locked in. I actually ended up in the hospital this weekend because they said it so many times that I had alcohol poisoning.
So Alex Bowman was in the seat next to you, then getting IVs. Yes. You got to think that dude has drank so much bourbon by now that
he was so ready to get drunk. It was great.
Gotta love it. I would be too after that. So, all right, let me first we'll talk all about this race. We'll talk about the Cup race that happened on Sunday. But first, as I always do, let me tell you about Underdog Fantasy. Pick 8 is now live. You can create entries with up to 8 picks, and Underdog is going to automatically double flex those entries so you can miss up to 2 picks and still win your entry. With more picks to make and extra ways to win, the excitement is higher than ever. And the best part, you can win up to 325 times your original amount. You can now use specials and boosts on all flexed entries. Can't wait to make another pick 8. We didn't do badly. Considering all things considered, we didn't do too badly on our Underdog picks this week. We'll make a ton more of them for you as we go into that tricky triangle of Pocono this week as well. So don't miss out on your chance to try it out before it is gone. Sign up today with our promo code RACESGPN to claim that special pick and first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com promo code RACESGPN. Circa Survivor and Circa Millions. Circa Sports is back with Circa Survivor and Circa Millions. They're giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes. And of course, Circa contests have no rake. Circa Millions, you can pick 5 NFL teams against the spread each week and compete for $6 million or survive the NFL gauntlet to claim the $10 million prize. Sign up in person at Circa Sports between now and September 7th and use a proxy to play from anywhere in the world. We even have a deal with footballcontestproxy.com to save you $50 off with promo code SGP. Don't have a trip booked for Las Vegas yet before football? Ultimate Contest Weekend is a great time to do so. Go hang out with Ryan and Sean and enjoy some of the open bar events at the greatest sportsbook in the world, August 22nd through August the 24th.
All right, Rod. I've got a bone to pick with our buddy Dos Flacos here. He says, cheers, boys. Let's petition to move the race to Chicagoland because the street race is bogus. I think the Chicagoland should have a race. I think it'd be great. I think we've seen what mile and a halves can do. Very similar to a track like Kansas. The racing there has been great lately. What, and if you could explain it to us, Dos Flacos, what is bogus about Chicago street race? We saw great racing on Saturday, absolute great battling, ability to pass. Sunday, we had the ability to pass. We had chaos. We had strategy. We had everything. Well, it rained. Well, it rained last week at Nashville. Well, it rained in New Hampshire. Well, it rained at Charlotte. Well, it snowed at California last year at Auto Club. Well, I mean, the weather part sucks. Yeah, I get it. But outside of that, it was an absolutely great race with all kinds of different storylines, because something completely different from anything you see the rest of the entire year. You're very, very wrong here. I hate to break it to you. I love you as a listener, but I don't understand what people hate about it. Is it, I don't know if people don't like change, or like what was bad other than the rain delay part that sucked. Yeah, but we had that at Nashville. Yeah, but we've had that like every single week of the entire season on ovals. Thank God we weren't racing at Daytona, because fuck, the day's over. As soon as it starts raining, come back tomorrow. And then they're racing at 11 o'clock in the morning while everybody's at work and nobody can watch the race anyways. So how is that any better?
Yeah. So I think there's a couple of different lenses of this, right? There's one of the people that watch it for the betting aspect of it. And you get mad because you expect this race to go a certain way and it doesn't, and your bets don't cash. That is one way that people get irritated at watching it. And then I think the second way, and kind of, so this is what a part of this. I agree with Little Joker at this one. People hate road courses if their driver sucks at them. Here's what I think people don't like about road course races is that when you watch the ovals, it's predictable. It's all for, and not predictable as far as what the outcome is going to be, but like, you know that after this straightaway, they're going to turn left. At that straightaway, they're going to turn left. And you see everything play out in front of you, right? But with road course races, in some aspects, the action is not right in front of you. There's different parts of it, and you're kind of at the mercy of what people are showing you. You know what the broadcast is zooming in on, so you don't get to see all the action. But I think, Cody, and along with what you were saying too, the broadcast was doing a great job of finding all of the action around the track. They actually showed you so much of the passing. They showed you so much of the wrecks even. I mean, they picked up on when a car zoomed off of turn 6 straight into.
Oh, we got a car in the wall.
Thanks, Jeff Burton. Oh my God, Jeff Burton. Listen, buddy.
Somebody's right in the middle of it. Oh, we got a car in the wall. It's Chase Briscoe.
What's his face is trying to set up something all nice. He's like, and here comes Alex Bowman with, oh my God, there's someone on the wall.
Rick Allen's being all professional. He's like, yeah, we got Alex Bowman hasn't won it.
There's someone on the wall.
But it was great. Like, that's how into it he was. That's how exciting it was. Like, and you had crazy different, like Kyle Larson, the greatest driver in the world out there. You're on that point where we've changed tires, where things are getting different, where it's challenging them. And he even said it afterwards. He felt like he could push a little more. Oops, stepped over and unplugs his controller. And we got one in the wall and dressed right into the wall. And like his day's over when he probably had the best car left at that point. So I don't know. I don't know what the chat very much disagrees with him. Sorry, Dos Lacos. We're not trying to pick on you, but you said, what did you enjoy about the street race? My question to you would be, what did you not enjoy? I don't understand. I don't know. I'm just kind of floored as to what people didn't like about it. I mean, is it a little bit of and I don't even think it's a gimmick, because it's not, because it's a street course. It's something completely different. It's a new challenge to these drivers. And it's not, hey, you've ran at Charlotte 457,000 times in your career, go do it again. Oh, yay, congratulations. Like, well, yeah, Charlotte races are fun and I like to watch races there, but let's give them a different challenge and something completely different and make them have to earn it. Denny Hamlin is one of the best drivers in the series, hands down. And yeah, he struggles at this type of place because it's tough for a guy like that to figure this stuff out when he's not done it his entire career. And should this be every single race? No, absolutely not. But to have it in here, why not?
Well, and I'll say this. Was it without frustration? No. Obviously, there were definitely kinks that needed to be worked out. There was issues that came up that nobody could have predicted. And there was things that you had to go along with but that's everything. That's life. Life is not as predictable as an oval track. Like, you don't know that at this stage you're going to pit, and then this stage you're going to, like, you don't know those things, and you have to roll with the punches. So,
and JDK with like the best point. And that's sometimes the problem with us as gamblers. If I didn't bet on the race was amazing. I lost my spot. As a bettor, it wasn't the best, but as a fan, it was really good. And I think we got to differentiate that sometimes. And we tried to give you that warning going into the week, like, take it easy, just enjoy it. Like, that's why I like super speedway racing so much, I think, because it is that time for me to, yeah, I've got action on it. I got some chances, some long shots. Imagine if you had a Joey Hand top 5 ticket, or he finished. I don't remember where he finished, but top 3 maybe even. But yeah, so like, but if you had that Todd Gilliland top Ford, oh Rod, we had such a shot at that. But I don't know. I think, and he makes the point about going to actual dirt track. Like, yeah, so we can have a street course and a dirt track. There's 36 weekends a year. Like, we can't not have a street course because we could have a dirt track. Heritage track. Well, we just brought North Wilkesboro back. Okay, so there you go. We're sort of working on that. Nashville that we went to last week, I mean, obviously you'd like to go to the fairgrounds track because that's more of a traditional one, but NASCAR used to go there and some of the other things. I don't know. I just I don't quite get it.
Well, again, this is not, I mean, New Coke came around and all the old Coke people were loving the old Coke better, and New Coke had to retreat back into its caverns. I don't think Chicago's going anywhere, but I will say, as we start to part for commercial and then breaking down the bets, that I would be fine to see this sort of float as well, to give other streets a chance, not necessarily just keep it at Chicago. Let's take it to some drier spots.
Yeah, I think it will. So I think, and you have to give it a couple of years too. And it's like we saw with the Coliseum, right? I think 3 years is the perfect window. We've had 2 opportunities at Chicago, right? First year was a disaster, but not because of anything, that just because there was monsoon. Like, they hadn't had that much rain in 100 years. What are you going to do about that? This year, a lot better. We saw great racing, got a little bit of mixture of everything. Next year, maybe it'll be the perfect race. Then boom, next year we're racing, through the streets of New York City or something. It might be a little bit tougher to do, but who would have thought we were going to be in Chicago ever, right? So maybe New York City's next, or maybe it's Miami or one of these other places. Yeah, Las Vegas. Who knows? Yeah, sure. Why not?
Tokyo Drift. Let's go. Yeah. All right. Let's start breaking down some bets because there's a ton to get through. And we could talk about the rest of that race as we play it out. But first, let's tell you about Rhythm. If you're betting on player props, then you need to download Rhythm. Rhythm is the go-to sports betting tool that transforms complex data into actionable insights, empowering bettors with smarter, data-driven decisions. Unlike other platforms, Rhythm combines advanced predictive analytics with an intuitive user experience, making betting both easy and enjoyable. Rhythm's predictive models were born from the brains of MIT data scientists and quants with over 3 years of data that help drive you to better AI-backed betting decisions. Rhythm projections have been red hot for WNBA and golf, so go claim that 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All right, the debate's going to rage on and on and on about this. So for sure, we'll continue this conversation in the Discord because I think there's valid points on both ends, and I believe that as we're not far enough removed from the situation yet to be able to look at it objectively. Everybody's got their corners; they're backed up into them for now, and we'll definitely see things clear once Pocono's in the rearview mirror, I'm sure. But Cody, we did have some bets that we picked for these races, so let's begin at the beginning, shall we? Where did our cards begin? Cody doesn't want to say.
SVG. Oh, no. SVG top 5, even money. I will say, I think this was not a bad bet. SVG was obviously really fucking good this weekend. This dude is incredible. Xfinity Series, like, I don't think anybody's going to beat him on a road course anytime ever soon at all. Like, really fucking good. You had the street course element, and he blew everybody away on Saturday. Masterclass. Sunday comes out looking good, looking fast. And I think JDK kind of mentioned earlier in the chats, like, maybe they should have stopped the race a little earlier. Briscoe gets out of control, takes out the beautiful Saucy Nugs car, and ruins SVG's day. That's how it goes. I mean, if you'd have told me at the beginning of the day SVG would finish last, Kyle Larson would finish second to last after the battle we saw between them on Saturday. I don't know, but even getting him an even money for a top 5 was a no-brainer. I think it was a good bet. He was easily one of the best, if not the best out there, and very fast. Obviously, just knows this type of racing very well. So I would definitely place this bet again. Obviously, doesn't cash because he finishes in last place. But what I wanted to do was get in on him in some way, shape, or form without being heavily invested, because I was afraid something like this could happen. Not because of anything against him, because it wasn't his fault and he did great. But the chaos angle that we knew could potentially be there. strikes, that's what you get. But I think we did get in at a good number at even money for the top 5. So doesn't cash, but if we get this option again next year, I definitely will take it because he's obviously really, really fucking good at this type of place.
You know, if you would have told me at the beginning of, like you said, the day that the 4 drivers at the bottom that would have crashed out of this race would have been Bell, Allmendinger, Larson, and Van Gisbergen, I would have told you
literally 3 of the 4 best in this race for sure. And you would have expected AJ to be good. AJ maybe wasn't good, but going into it, he should have been, right? And these were some of the favorites because I think it was SVG, Larson, and Bell as the 3 favorites, being 3 of the last 4 guys in this race. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, absolutely insane. All right, so this is where the crow begins. Allow me a couple of seconds here, real quick. Ready? I want to do something real quick.
Doesn't have an in studio picture like I do.
So no, I don't. Hold on.
He's adding one to the screen here on the fly.
Hold on. Ready? Here we go. Did you hear that?
I can't hear anything.
You can't hear that? That no. Didn't come through?
It didn't.
Oh, for the love of God. That sucks.
Did you no, I don't know.
So I don't know if that came through. Did that come through for anybody? Did anybody catch that?
Let us know in the chat. This is Rod trying to improvise on the fly.
This is me trying to improvise something, and I don't think it really worked. But I will say yes. My first one was AJ Allmendinger over Ryan Truex. Little Joker, yes. But here's where it stands. Ready? I am fully ready to admit that my love for AJ Allmendinger is done. Not done, but like I can't do it anymore. I can't subject myself to the same mood swings that I have on a daily basis. Like I'm already enough for me to handle. He's getting enough for me to handle. I love him to death because he reflects me so much and like his passion and his moods. But boy, I got to tell you, he should have been, and he was amongst the top cars in the field both days. He started way back in history, right in the Cup race, but managed to be a player at least in the top 5 markets where you were kind of hoping for him, right? We were taking him. I was taking him as a top 5 car at the end of the day too, in the Xfinity Series. But all I wanted him to do in this case was just finish better than Martin Truex Jr., which, by the way, he was doing for 95% of the laps that he was running up until the point where he decided that he was going to take himself out of the race unceremoniously. And then Truex, though, with that brilliant crit strategy at the end to stay out on wets, I don't know if that would have, because that's really what bit it, right? That AJ didn't stay out. He came in, got the slicks, and I don't know if that's what did it eventually or not.
Well, I don't even for some reason I can't even think of when the AJ accident. Like when did he get in the wreck? I don't even.
So he ended up getting in the wreck on lap 48. So this was after everybody came in. They put on slicks and they were not, because he was running inside of the top 5 at that point. And
that's right. Yeah. And they all got slicks together. Yeah.
So Lil Joker, yes, 1000% that was a wrong call. But if things would have held out the way they were, that would have been 1000% the right call.
Well, and
the driver that could do it.
Like you're getting plus money on a guy who's been very good, in a general sense. And Martin Truex finishes 33rd. So you give me all that information coming into this, sign me up, right? I don't think that it was necessarily a horrible call. And Truex wasn't good. He got up there for a minute, for a flash because of the strategy and stuff, but he still finished kind of more close to where he ran all day. So I don't think that it was the worst bet ever, especially for the number you guys. It's not like you paid way up on this. So I don't know. Justin Haley, top 10, plus 450. For all the things that really felt like they were going to cash throughout the day, this is not something that really felt like was going to cash. It just seemed like none of the strategies really put him up there and in play, but he still finishes in 16th place. So he's not that far outside of there. Obviously, you get a lot of upset top 10 finishers here between, Hand, Stenhouse, Gilliland. I guess so. So you get a couple of guys, but Hemrick was in 12th place, and then Haley, Zane Smith, which Zane Smith was running great, by the way, throughout the day. Like, what a run by him! So yeah, it plus 450, especially with all the chaos we had, all the flip strategies and stuff like that. If I knew for sure we were getting all that, I would definitely place this bet again. So I don't know that it was really going to cash all day. He finishes in 16th, so a couple more incidences there at the end. We saw a couple of guys, Kozlowski was third or fourth, and he got taken out and fell back, and Elliott and Suarez got into their thing. A couple of guys kind of fell back at the end. You had a couple more. Maybe Haley gets up there. Maybe if we get to the full distance, Haley gets up there. So I don't think it was a bad bet. Obviously, it doesn't cash, but Haley's a guy that probably not going to target him on some of these bigger tracks we got coming up on, but we're going to keep getting in on him, especially when we kind of get back to the shorter tracks further on down the schedule here.
I mean, Haley was in the top 10 at one point. So I just, it was not a bad bet. It just was not the bet that was going to cash at the end of the day. So Ty Gibbs, I was wrong on that one too. I will eat that crow. I would like it flavored with any of the hot sauces that are out there. Maybe I'll put the last dab on that crow and eat all of it. But yeah, I mean, look, Ty Gibbs, I had him over 10.5, which means I thought he was going to finish worse than 10.5. Ty Gibbs was going to be one of the cars that won the race until the end of it. So finished third. There's not much more I can say. He showed up this time. He hadn't been.
As Little Joker says, hashtag Team Ty Gibbs. I had the opposite bet, Rod. Ty Gibbs under 10.5, minus 115. Put some respect on the kid's name. Whoops, as Little Joker says, comes out, almost sets it on the pole. Just, I saw a headline, Rod, that said that Kyle Larson edges Ty Gibbs for the pole. And I was like, maybe we should have worded that a little differently, but that's okay. Just barely got edged out by Kyle Larson, but ran up front all day, looked very good. I never wanted a race to end under the rain delay red flag so bad in my life, Rod. I was cashing I looked back, I put $8 into DFS because I was just taking it easy, nice, easy week. I was winning like $350 at the break. Things were going great. Ty Gibbs, obviously, I had him to win 20-1. I think the Gill in top 4 was cashing at that time. Like everything was just going great. It did not end that way, unfortunately, but that's how it goes. TK, by the way, saying Haley probably too safe in this race. Mentioned they can't afford to crash. That is something I have heard. They've only got like 2 cars, so basically like don't wreck the car. And obviously with the chaos that was going on, maybe they were playing it safe. JDK says, I do love all the haters saying SVG sucks, hasn't won an oval, so his wins don't count. All I could say is look at the Xfinity standings. Tell me who he's done better at this year. So I think I saw a lot of the conversation in the Discord there, which is probably a lot what he's referencing. It's not that they don't count, because they do, and it's great, and he is actually locked into the playoffs with 3 wins, and don't count him out on road courses, but he's not really competing for wins on the ovals, which he shouldn't be. He's never raced them before the season. That's why he's learning in the Xfinity Series. We've talked about him all season. Now he's pretty good at staying clean. Really good. I play him in DFS all the time because he's going to finish 10th to 15th place for you most of the time. Have a solid day. Get to the end. He's been doing very good at taking care of the equipment. There was some do you take him for the championship odds? Like, well, let's not let the road courses pull the wool over our eyes. If he's able to get to Phoenix, which is probably a stretch, does he really compete there for a championship? Probably not, right? So I don't think that it's being a hater on him, and he's never raced ovals in his life. You wouldn't expect him to be very good on them. So, but he's doing great for the experience he does have. So I think that there's a somewhere in between there. But back to the bets in this part for me, Rod. I did have the Gibbs under 10.5, 115 to go opposite of you, and I was correct. So shout out to me there. Was not correct. I had AJ Allmendinger a couple of places as well. I had him top 5, or not top 5. I had him under 8.5 as his finishing position. This was up and down. It definitely had its opportunities to cash throughout the day. Of course, doesn't at the end of the day. But then I had him as top Chevy, and I think that this was probably not a bad bet to make. Plus 750, if you tell me SVG gets out of this race, Kyle Larson gets out of this race, you're really opening up that Chevy market. I know Bowman wins, but Ricky Stenhouse was the next best Chevy in 6th place. Byron and Busch, kind of round out the top 10 there, but there was definitely some value to be had in the top Chevy market. I'm sure Bowman was probably a pretty decent number for top Chevy as well. So picked the wrong guy there, unfortunately, but I don't know. I think we just need to kind of rethink AJ going forward. Does he just retire after this year, Rod? Do you think he just hangs it up and walks away? Because it's been sort of brutal for him this season. I mean, we've just not seen – it's not been the AJ, and his teammates the one that's outshining him too, which is really the thing that's kind of like – oof. Because if it wasn't for SVG, we'd be blaming the equipment. And I still heard some people, well, it's AJ, it's the equipment, but then SVG comes out and looks as good as he does. Is it the equipment? It might not be. Daniel Hemrick finished 12th. So
yeah, I was going to say it's the same equipment that he's been driving for years and years and years. So if he can do it in that, I don't know what degraded over the course of the last few years that's made it that way. And you're right, SVG is over there killing everything. So AJ, again, if I played Sarah McLachlan's "I Will Remember You" behind that picture. So if you didn't,
is that what it was?
That was what it was. I was playing Sarah McLachlan's "I Will Remember You." So yeah.
Yes, the equipment is bad. I will give you that. But SVG's making it work. Yeah. So why can't AJ make it work?
Yeah, I mean, like if somebody gives me the same football and they can throw it 100 yards and I can only throw it 20, then it's if the football doesn't matter if the football's bad or not, if they can throw it that far and I can't, then they're still more talented than I am. So, right. Speaking of more talented, Joey Logano is a more talented driver than I am, but he couldn't get into the top 10 this week. And that's it. I mean, I was wrong again. I was preparing for Joey Logano to maybe learn something from Saturday, in which he probably just learned the wrong lessons and came out. At one point, he was somewhere there through pit strategy. He was close enough to be in the conversation for a top 10, but never really had the raw speed and never really had the starting position to make good on that either. He started 32nd in the race, ended up 23rd on the day. I just don't know. Would he have done better if he'd have started farther forward? I don't know. We won't know. And
the field got flipped so many times. Yeah. Who even knows? I don't really remember seeing much of Joey in this race. I don't think they really talked about it much on the broadcast, so I don't really know how he was running throughout the day. But top Ford was the market to get into, Rod. Top Ford, I had Austin Cindric at 10-1. I had Justin Haley as well at 18-1. Obviously, we kind of talked about Haley already. Cindric, he wasn't really the one. Obviously, somebody like Gilliland would have been the way to go, probably. He finishes in 7th. Joey Hand ends up being, his odds for top Ford had to be crazy. But this was, again, who in the Ford market is going to kind of carry the banner, and you didn't really have anyone. The Fords throughout the day didn't look that good. They, other than being in the tire barriers all the time, like Keselowski actually looked kind of great at points. You didn't see it from Buescher like you normally do. Blaney was okay, but never really that good. Gilliland might have been the best Ford, I don't know. And then Hand obviously plays everything perfectly at the end there and finishes in 4th place. So taking shots at top Ford worked. Obviously didn't hit the right one, which was unfortunate. But I did bet the Gilliland top Ford later on. So I didn't give that one out on the show, but that was one I was definitely sweating because, it looked so good.
It did, and Gilliland looked good, looked comfortable for a long time. So I love that the broadcast was even like, oh, look at Todd Gilliland out there in the front. It's something you don't see very often, and they're right. But somebody you do see out front very often, that's Tyler Reddick. Had him as a top 5 car, plus 110. Almost won the damn thing if it wasn't for that last, it wasn't last turn, but
coming so fast.
Tapped that wall. Ended his day. Well, it didn't end his day, but
another week of Tyler Reddick being so close.
Did you see him though on the broadcast? Like he looked so, and even during the rain delay, when they were talking to him in his pit stall, even then he was looking at he was just sounded so utterly exhausted and just so defeated. I was like, damn, Tyler, you're running in the top 5, bro.
Well, and that was that just last weekend, or was that at New Hampshire? I don't remember where it was, but was that? Yeah, last week in Nashville where he finished 2nd and it was just overly, and like you didn't even really understand it last week. Why is he so mad? But then this week, he had a chance and had to push it, and he pushed it and pushed too far, obviously. But that championship ticket feeling pretty good. Tyler Reddick's he's been showing up and looking good everywhere. This was a great call by you. I had a couple of top 10s that I threw out there, Rod. Joey Hand, top 10 plus 450. Hey, strategy, it works. I know some people got this at a much bigger number when he started in 38th place, so props to you. Finishes in 4th place. You thought maybe he had a chance to even win the race at the end, so that cashes a plus 450. Alex Bowman, top 10 at plus 300. Obviously should have taken some more bets on Alex Bowman, but hey, I'll take the 3-1, getting him to finish inside the top 10. Obviously, he wins and snaps that 80 streak winless race.
Yes, he did. And that was actually I just, like I said, you love it for the 48 car. I love the 48 car. You love the 48 car. All of that is good stuff. I had winning car number under 16.5. This is where my run stops. Like I was looking for anybody under 16. SVG, Larson, both of those guys kaput. AJ Allmendinger gone. So like those are the three that would have done it, I think, in my opinion. And I was counting on one to get it done. And that was
ninth
Larson.
Place, Rod. Ninth place is the first car under 16.
It's crazy, isn't it? Ugh.
And it was Kyle Busch.
I know. Of all cars, too, Kyle Busch was the guy that completely blew up on turn 6 last season. Ends up having a decent day for himself. Moves up 10 spots. So, yay, Kyle Busch, top 10.
Yeah. Shout out to Kyle Busch. So there you go. Outrights. AJ Allmendinger. We talked about that. 14-1. With the info we had going into it, I felt like it was a good price. Tyrone Gibbs at 20-1. As the little joker said, if the 6 didn't almost fence him or didn't fence him with 5 didn't go, Ty probably, I did notice Ty was coming fast. And I was, oh boy, here we go. If he can run him down and get that win, would have been great. Unfortunately didn't, but at 20-1, he starts second place. I think he was down to 5-1 before the race. So you got good value and everything. And he felt good throughout the race. We get to the rain delay. Like, all right, just call this, baby. Just end it. Pull the floodgates and call it a day. Give it to Ty. Unfortunately, didn't happen. And then we had that whole strategy thing where some guys stayed out. Obviously, works out for Bowman. But Ty was one of the guys marching back to the field. Bell got caught up, and so you're like, okay, this is a really good shot for Ty. He almost gets back up there, but kind of gets wrecked in there with Keselowski, and things don't end well. So unfortunate, but I think that was still a good bet. Haley at 120-1. You can't tell me that a 120-1 was not a bad bet going into this race because of the results we ended up with. Joey Hand up there, and some of these other guys that you didn't really expect to see having chances late because of how things shook out.
Yeah. Again, when I look back at all these, because like I said, I had Kyle Larson. And Kyle Larson was, Kyle Larson. Could have been there. Had a great, fantastic day on Saturday, which we'll talk about here in a second. But yeah, I mean, when you wreck out, can't win the race, and that's exactly what happened to Kyle Larson. So we'll put Sunday behind us. Let us quickly turn over to Saturday, which again produced some of the best racing I think we've seen in a long time on any road circuit and almost any circuit that we've seen so far this season. Not because we just saw like Kyle Larson and SVG go at it, which, by the way, that was
enough. You could have thrown the checker flag after 20 laps. I'd have been happy.
Yeah.
Like the battle between those two guys, just dueling it out, and they weren't roughing each other up. Like they were being aggressive, but not getting overly rough. And man, the show they put on. That right there was worth the entire weekend, really. And it was just incredible to watch them go back and forth and watch their racecraft and how they raced each other. And then SVG's got the thumbs out the window at one point under caution to Kyle, like, hey, man, what great racing. Like, that's the kind of stuff those guys love. Everything about that was just absolutely glorious. SVG just goes on to put on this show and show everybody why he's as good as he is, why he's in the position he's in, why he's got 3 wins in the Xfinity Series this year. I mean, he's absolutely tearing it up on road courses, street course in this case. Just amazing run by SVG.
Yeah, and again, for the whole length of that, with both of them giving the thumbs up and just slapping each other and enjoying the fact that they were racing clean, that to me, and even the beating and the banging that this one did, this still had the element of nobody was trying to be malicious with it. That's just the way it had to be in some cases when you were trying to have to move somebody to get that position. But yeah, again, this Xfinity race, for me not being able to put a lot of picks into it, definitely probably was a little less stressful than the rest because I got to sit back and enjoy the racing. But yeah, it was definitely something. There was battles going on all over the track, a lot of good stuff happening all over the track. So let's go ahead and start breaking down those bets. Cody, since I had the least amount of bets, I'll go first. I had AJ Allmendinger over Ty Gibbs in this one. Okay, again, I was wrong. If I could play the I Will Remember You again, I would do that because once again,
I believe, but so if you missed the Xfinity show last week, which hopefully you didn't, but I was by myself. Rod had just tossed these bets in there, and I told you guys that he was going to be wrong on this one. So hopefully you listened to me and not the bet that Rod gave out.
You did,
for the record. But yeah,
listen, AJ finished 11th, and AJ was essentially I don't want to say a no-show for this race, but he was most certainly not. I mean, yeah,
no show's fairly accurate.
Ty Gibbs finished second, which Ty Gibbs is, want to do. But yeah, he's back. All right, he's back.
And really, like, and Lil Joker says Saturday, basically 3 good street racers in the rest of the field. Like Ty was mixing it right up with those 2 guys too. I mean, yes, the big battle at the beginning with SVG and Larson, but then Ty was right there with them the rest of the time. They get shuffled back when we get through the pit strategies and stuff, and coming back through the field, they all 3 get back up there because SVG wins, Gibbs and Larson 1, 2, 3. I mean, this race did kind of go chalky, but yeah, great run by them. Rod, our buddy Sour D over in the Discord, a little upset with you. I'd like you to know, and this one is completely your fault. So I hope that you understand why I'm giving you the blame. Things are looking great. He's, everybody's chatting in the Discord during the race. He jumps in and he goes, "Oh, I'm so glad you gave out this Sam Mayer over Joey Logano, minus 125. I dropped like 45 units on it. Gonna make so much money." Like, I think as soon as he hits send, Sam Mayer ends up wrecked and does not cash this. But I had Sam Mayer over Joey Logano, minus 125. This was not even close all day long. No, I mean, Sam Mayer was right up there mixing it up with these guys as well. Had a chance at points to even win this race. Looking good. Easily on his way to a top 5 finish here. Logano ends up in 8th place, kind of just by attrition and just doing Logano things, right? Hanging out and chilling. But this was not even close. Should have cashed. Sour D jinxed it. So I'm going to put the blame on him. But it was the right bet to make. Unfortunately, that's how it goes sometimes.
Yep. But again, this was the same thing as the AJ Allmendinger over Martin Truex bet. This one was cashing until it wasn't. And it's the same thing with Mayer, cashing until it wasn't. So, yeah, can't really do much about that there. I had John Hunter Nemechek as a top 5 car. Look, it was 750 plus 750. He ends up in 25th. He started 6th, right? I mean, he
qualified.
Well, he qualified 6th, you're right, but he started way in the back of the freaking field. So that was already a tough situation for him. I feel like if he would have been able to start where he qualified, we'd have been talking about a John Hunter Nemechek top 5 car because.
Yeah, what an interesting weekend for Gibbs too in Xfinity. Like before the weekend even starts, like they go through inspection and then realize there's an issue with John Hunter's engine, so he still qualifies because he has to. But they knew they were going to have to change the engine, and then Chandler Smith's engine shits out during the race. Creed, I think, got in a wreck, but then like had engine issues after that. I was just starting to sweat Ty Gibbs because he obviously was the other Gibbs car out there, but. Things went okay for him. So I had Austin Hill top 5 at plus 350. This was looking good. This was looking real good. Austin Hill with a chance to win this thing late even. Leading up there for a while. Plus 350, ends up in 7th place. Oh, so close to cashing. I mean, at plus 350 for a guy to finish in 6th place, that's what you're looking for, right? It was the right bet. He obviously misses by a spot. That's kind of how it goes. If you end up with a Ty Gibbs engine issue or a Kyle Larson spin out where he drives into the barrier like he did on Sunday, boom, then Austin Hill is right up there as well. But that's how it goes. So I guess Austin Hill finished 7th. I said 6th, but 7th place for plus 350. Not a bad bet by any means.
Nope. Another case of what could have been was Justin Allgaier. I had him as a top 3 car.
Isn't that the case with Justin Allgaier every week?
We know.
What could have been.
What could have been. The anvils continue to fall. But listen, for a guy that crashed and had to start in a backup car to come back and fight from 36th to 9th, in the fact that he actually even had more problems in that race as well, to still get a 9th place finish, I'm wondering what would have happened if he started up sooner. He did finish stage 2 in 4th place, which means he was 1 spot out of the running for this one. I know strategy played a lot of part of that, but still, he was in the top. And I think, God, that pit strategy got him there. And I wish they would have been able to keep him close enough to the front to get there. But yeah, I mean, He wasn't going to get top 3, but yeah, there you go. And that's exactly TK saying pitted twice, spun on the first pit as well. Yeah, I mean, it was a rough day for him overall.
Yeah, trying to get into the pits and just gets whipped around right there. So, man, yeah, that kind of sucks. Little Joker saying not enough credit shown to Ty for moving the 2 while SVG was breathing down his neck because would have punted him like it was 4th and 20. Yeah, that is true. He had to get it out of the way there. Heartbreaking on this one, Rod. I was not watching SVG win this race. I was watching the ticker to see if Connor Mosack could get inside the top 5, 6-1, and he finishes in 6th place. Come on, Jesse Love, just give him the spot. Oh, we were so close on this one. Look, Mosack's a good road course racer. You put him in a solid car. He was in the JRM car. We've seen that car have success this year. Almost hit another 88 top 5 at a big number this year, Rod. So damn close. At 6-1, finishing 6th place, not a lot more you can ask for from Connor Mosack. So very happy with that bet, even though it doesn't hit. I had Riley Herbst, top finishing Ford at plus 275. This was kind of, is it going to be Riley Herbst? Is it going to be Cole Custer? Custer has an issue earlier on, kind of falls back. Herbst is up there, not going to be a problem. And then Riley Herbst ends up, I think he ended up in the wall first, right? And then he ends up or spun out, and then he was overheating after that because of the damage that he got. So doesn't finish the race, obviously. Logano takes the top Ford in 8th place. But then it was Ryan Sieg all the way back in 18th or 16th. Cole Custer, which I kind of thought this would be the head-to-head between Herbst and Custer. Custer ends up in 18th place. So unfortunately, that's how it goes. And then Austin Green. Why can we not have top 10 odds, Rod? This is what I want, is top 10 odds. Austin Green, 9-1 for a top 5, finishes in 10th place. Just like if we could bet on him, I would have bet on him top 10 if we could have. But I had 3 guys at plus 350 or bigger. Hill at plus 350, Mosack at plus 600, Green at plus 900. All top 5 bets that finished 6th through 10th. Very brutal for me, Rod, because obviously none of them cash, but right in the thinking, right in the process. That's why we do these recaps. Everything about placing these bets was correct. They don't cash. Again, that's just kind of how it goes. And then, yeah, little Joker saying, was it Mosack the one that wrecked Mayer? He might have been. I don't remember.
I don't know if it was a JRM on JRM crime.
Thinks, he agrees, but we've seen JRM on JRM crimes once or twice before, Rod.
Yeah, we have. So listen, I did not get a chance to put this in the bets, but I did go back into underdog, and I want to give a special shout out to Parker Kligerman, who finished in 4th place. I actually had an underdog position on him that was better than, and he crushed this. I think it was like 8.5 is what I ended up giving him out as on the better than. So definitely Parker Kligerman made a hell of a run out there for himself. Let's see, Parker Kligerman. Better than 9.5. So yeah, so I gave him out a better than 9.5, and he finished in 4th place. That was a lot of fun to watch. It was a lot of fun to watch Kligerman muscle around this track. So like I said, I didn't get to give him out as a better. I probably would have if I would have been able to fully research for this when it came to being the betting episode. But yeah, definitely love to see that. And then of course I gave out AJ to win 7-1. Not going to apologize for it anymore. I said what I said. I did what I did. Am I going to do it again? No, but I will say that I will at least pause now and pour one out as I consider not putting them in the dock anymore. So,
that's how it'll go, Rod. I had Larson plus 350, finishes in 3rd place. Obviously, great battle throughout the day. Don't feel bad about taking this bet. Obviously, looking back, maybe you just bite the bullet with SVG, but if you did that on Sunday, it didn't pay it out for you. So that can go either way, right? Plus 350 for the greatest driver in the world. I think it was worth taking the shot at. Doesn't work, of course. Sam Mayer 14-1. Yet again, good value on Sam Mayer. And he didn't even finish good. So we'll probably get good value again on him this week, Rod. So going to continue to hit Mayer. He's an auto bet anytime he's this big of a number. Connor Mosack at 60-1. Look, he finishes in 6th place. You needed an element of chaos. The top 3 favorites all finish 1, 2, 3. When you get that type of thing, you're not going to cash a long shot like this. But a late caution, SVG and Larson wreck each other. I mean, they could have easily wrecked each other in that first 15, 20 laps, whatever that battle was that just went on and on. Imagine if they'd have wrecked each other and then it opens it up for the rest of the field. That's why you're on guys like that. And then Tyrone Gibbs, the parlay. Rod, $10 would have won you 1,000. Plus 10824 was the number on it to win both races. Second place in this race, and he was starting on the pole in the Cup race. Could have won under the rain. What could have been, Rod? What could have been? Boy, what a weekend that would have been. But unfortunately, Gibbs falls just short in both races. But I don't think that this was a bad, sometimes you throw these out there and, a guy did one day, bad did. But for as big of a number as you were getting, he had a legit shot to win both of these races. So I would definitely place this bet again. Maybe next time.
Maybe next time. But yeah, I mean, for Gibbs, look, like I said, he's back. Fine. I will concede that he is back. But, it could have very easily been a different week for him if, like you said, he gotten punted on early because there was an opportunity for somebody to punt him. He looked like he was. And then the pit strategy that went crazy and trapped him back in the back. We had a couple extra crazy things happen and put him back up to where he got going. So, I mean, he could have been trapped in 18th too and could have gotten into the wall. He didn't. Good for him. But yeah, let's just say luck played a little bit of a factor in everybody's weekend this weekend. So, and call
well,
it
now that the race is over, Rod. Oh, boom. Bumped him right off the track. You're welcome.
I got punted.
You got to watch on YouTube for that. I do want I feel like it's something we should talk about, and I haven't heard your thoughts. So I would like your thoughts. So after the race, obviously NBC is showing Alex Bowman on his cooldown lap, and Bubba Wallace comes up to him, doors him pretty good, enough that Alex goes into the wall. They both got their door nets down and everything. Well, then, and I'd like to preface this. I'm a very big Bubba Wallace fan, a big supporter of him. I defend him a lot. In the Discord, you'll notice that. If you ever see me commenting on Facebook, I love to go after people when they hate on Bubba for certain reasons. I love Bubba in everything about the guy, but this, I think, was crossing the line. I do think that he deserves, I think a fine is fine. A fine is fine. But I don't know that you need to take points away. I don't think he needs to be suspended or anything like that. Then there's this video going around of Chase Elliott. Let's be careful how we're watching this, because the first part of that video is the last lap of the race. He roughs up Suarez. Suarez roughs back, but that's during the race. Then after the race, Elliott goes over and barely bumps him on the door, kind of hits him on the door on the side a little bit like, hey, not pleased with how that went, which I think is very acceptable and very okay. I think these are two very different things. Yes, I'm a Chase Elliott fan, but when he hooked, I don't remember. Was it Hamlin last year at Charlotte, the Coke 600? I was saying that he needed to be suspended, even though I didn't think he would be. He got suspended, obviously. Even though I'm a fan, I can still set it down and look at these. These things were two very different incidences. Definitely not the same. I love Bubba Wallace. I'm cool with wanting to be upset with guys after the race. Go take it to him. Like, was it Bowman that parked in when Denny Hamlin was doing his burnouts at one point and parked in the way or whatever? I think that's great. That was funny. All of that. Or maybe it was the other way around. I can't remember. But you can't. I don't think you can hit a guy that hard where he is jostled around like that, slams into the wall after all the nets are down. We could be unbuckling. I don't know, Rod.
So here's my take on this. Okay. I get road rage when somebody cuts me off in the Safeway parking lot. I can't even fathom what kind of pressure these guys are under, the amount of money, the amount of just overall consequences of what they do in that car, and then the rain, and then the restarts, and then the rain of the red flag, and then all this stuff, right? I mean, you've got to be the biggest ball, and you already know that Bubba wears his emotions on his sleeve. He's a lot like AJ Allmendinger in that, right? He's a lot like me in that, right? Where I know that for me, it's very difficult sometimes for me to bottle the emotions that I feel, because they just bubble up, and I don't deal with them well sometimes, because when it gets to be too much, then I can't do it. I just can't deal with it anymore. And you got to imagine that Sunday after Sunday after Sunday, that's what these guys are up to. Now, not saying that it's an excuse for them to do what they do, right? I mean, look, at any time, we can't just go around and sideswipe people with our car. We would love to. I would love to very much take out that Humvee that's just making me mad in the Safeway parking lot by cutting me off and or taking the parking spot that I was about to take, right? But my little Chevy Traverse can't take that. It would buckle under all the pressure of that Humvee. These guys are equal and they can do that kind of stuff. But should they? No. And Bubba knew better. Bubba knows not to use that car as a weapon, especially on a cool down lap, especially in an instance where this guy is celebrating a victory and it's not the right time to give him a shot. Knows full well, got to think that he's going to obviously take whatever punishment that comes to him and roll with it. Is he going to complain about it? Probably, but then he's going to realize that it wasn't right for him to do that as well. Chase, same thing. I know the little love tap is in the moment, I know, but that's even wrong too. I know that it's to a lesser degree, but I think if he thinks back to it, he probably wishes that he wouldn't have done it either, because that's not the right message to send. Given that Bubba did that to Bowman, right, to his own teammate, now in a different lens, it's like, yeah, I may have just love tapped Suarez, but people are making a big deal out of the way Bubba did it. I probably shouldn't have done that either. Retaliation's one thing on the track, but maybe I should just not do this and not leave it up to interpretation anymore next time. But again, I can't even imagine the pressure cooker that these guys are under. I can't even begin to fathom the pressure that they're under. So for outbursts like that, especially after everything that they've gone through, yes, Bubba should not have done it. Absolutely should be fined. Suspension might be a little bit too heavy, but I think a hefty fine should teach him a lesson.
Yeah, that's definitely, if they suspend him for that, that's too far for sure. I think even points might be a little too far.
Points is probably better.
If they do, okay, they probably don't matter at this point. There's 47 other guys locked into the playoffs already anyways. But yeah, I don't know. It just, I felt like we should touch on it at least. It's a hot topic. But make sure the videos that are going around, you know what you're even looking at, because yeah, there's a video of Elliott and Suarez really getting into it, but the race is still going on at that point. So, and it's the last lap. So yeah, they should be getting into it like that, because that's how it is. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see what comes of it. Tuesday, Wednesdays when NASCAR usually announces penalties. We'll see what it is. Maybe it'll have been cheaper for him to get out and punch him. $75K is the price for that. As we know. So I guess we'll find out what the lesser penalty is.
That'd have been fun. Bubba getting out and punching Alex in victory lane.
Yeah,
oh yeah. Yeah, that's a good highlight reel right there. They make money off of that for years. Park it, Bubba. All right. That's it. We've come to the end of Chicago. Rain delayed and red flagged and night capped and everything. We'll do it again next year for Chicago, but in the meantime, we'll just put that to bed and let Chicago wake up this morning and deal with the aftermath of having a NASCAR street circuit on there by Lake Michigan. So we turn our attention, though, Cody, to the Tricky Triangle next week. We'll break down all of Pocono for you, as we always do. So much fun to be had at that Tricky Triangle.
Yeah, I'm excited. This should be a good one. We only have 2 weeks left, Rod. Two weeks before we have a 2-week break for the Olympics. So soak these couple of weeks up and enjoy them. Odds have just dropped during the show. Denny Hamlin is the favorite, to no surprise. Kyle, he's at plus 450. Larson at plus 500. Bell at 7-1. Truex Reddick at 8-1. Byron 12-1. Elliott 12-1 as well. So, yeah, there you go. We'll be back tomorrow to break it down for you.
We sure will, and give you all of our thoughts. So for those of you who like to jump on the early lines, jump in the Discord. There will be plenty of discussion to be had there about some of the early leans from everybody. But yeah, we'll give you our official plays tomorrow. So Cody, in the meantime, let's let everybody know where they can find us offline so they can continue to follow us.
Well, you can find me online, Rod, over on the X.
Oh yeah, that's
at Husker_Zeeb. I don't think I'm going to give out my phone number or anything for offline, but yeah, maybe we'll see. Follow me on the X at Husker_Zeeb. Find all my stuff over there, and follow the show as well at NASCAR Gambling, as JB says. Later, guys. Later. We'll see you later.
Peace out. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio, everything I got going on, whether it's here, Sportsbook Review, In Between Media, all the millions of things. Arena Football League, got stuff coming out there as well, and having a lot of fun. So we'll see you tomorrow with the Cup Series picks for Pocono. So until then, let's go racing and let it ride.